Good morning, grade 3. This is Ms. Joelle, SST and Social Studies Coordinator. I'm here to review Chapter 10, Lesson 3, Cultures of the World. Before I begin this lesson, students, I just want to talk to you regarding your assignments. I'm happy with many students who are taking the trouble to do it, but at the same time, there are some students who have not done many assignments. And it is very disappointing because we teachers have taken a lot of trouble to upload, to make assignments for you to upload it, and we look forward to you getting your we look forward to you getting your work on time. So please do not delay, and it will be good if you do your work on time, so that then you will not have work pending later on, right? Okay, I hope you are all safe and taking care of your health and your family's health during this time of crisis. Okay, so let's go back to our studies, children. Let's talk about the cultures of the world. The objectives of the lesson is define cultural identity and to identify expressions of different cultures around the world. So as we are going through the lesson, we'll find that there are different cultures and how we are going to identify the way each country expresses their culture. Okay. What do you mean by the word culture? What is culture? Culture is a pattern of behavior shared by a society or group of people. Many different things make up a society's culture. These things include food, language, clothing, tools, music, arts, custom, beliefs, and religion. Now we all know we all come from different parts of the world, different countries in the world. And in different countries of the world we come from, we have different cultures and different tradition. Now, most of you are come from an Arabic culture. I come from an Indian culture. But in India itself, we have got so many different types of cultures and tradition. But on the whole, there are certain common cultures that we share as the citizens, as Indians or as Arabs. Like if you are from Lebanon, you'll have similar traditions like the people of Qatar, but there will be something different in Lebanon, something different in Qatar. So that is what we understand by culture. Each country has their own culture. Each community has their own culture, own tradition, which comes to us from our ancestors. Now, let's understand this slide. This slide reads over here. Culture is not innate, is not inborn, it is learned. What does it mean? It means that when all of us are born, we are born as babies, right? And we do not know anything. Do we know language? No. Do we know what traditions are? No. Do we know art? Do we know norms, how to behave with people? No. Do we know what are values? No. Then how do we come to know about it? It is because as we grow up, we learn about this. We learn about it in our home, we learn about it in school, and we keep learning through the end of our lives. Learning is a never ending process. We cannot say, oh, I finished school, I finished learning, I finished university, I finished learning. No, we keep learning. Every day we learn something new. Even us as adults and teachers, we learn something new every day. So culture is not something that we are born with. We learn it in the family that we are born in. We learn from our parents, we learn from our grandparents, our aunties, uncles, cousins. We learn from them our language, our tradition that we follow, the arts that we like, the behavior that how we behave with people in our culture, in our country, in our community, and values of life. Okay, now this lesson, we're going to talk about the cultures of the world. Now, there are many countries in the world. Many countries. There are 7 continents and many countries in the world. Now, here we are going to talk about 2 continents. Okay, we are going to talk about Europe and we are going to talk about Africa. Now, in these 2 countries, we are not talking about the entire continent of Africa or about the entire continent of Europe. They have just chosen 2 countries from these continents. So, from Africa, they have chosen Ethiopia, and from Europe, they have chosen Spain. So, here we compare 2 different countries, just a simple comparison, nothing is not a major comparison, just a simple comparison about the cultures of these 2 countries. Now, if let's see the life in Ethiopia. The life in Ethiopia, as we can see, Africa has more than 50 countries. It is around 54 countries. I've been reading about it when I was planning your lesson. So it's around 54 countries. But over here is given Africa has more than 50 countries. Hundreds of languages are spoken, such as Arabic and Somali are spoken. So there are many languages spoken in Ethiopia, but I guess and I presume that Arabic and Somali are the most common languages that are spoken over there. Students in Ethiopia learn different languages in school. At home, families eat vegetables and meat served on injera, a flat, spongy bread. I will show you some pictures about all this. Life in Spain. Europe is made up of more than 40 countries. More than 40 languages are spoken. In Spain, the official language is Spanish. Other languages such as Basque and Catalan are spoken. Families in Spain eat their main meal of the day in the afternoon. What do you mean by the main meal of the day? The main meal of the day is a meal where all the family members gather together and share the meal together. That is what they mean by the main meal. Most communities, most people in the world have their main meal of the day at during dinner time when the full family gathers together. But in Spain, they do it a bit differently. Now let's look at this picture. Mhm. Can you tell me what does this picture show you? Yes, it shows you the continent of Africa. This shows you the globe and this location of Africa. And in Africa, there we are focusing on country. Which country are we focusing on? Ethiopia, right? So Ethiopia is towards the east of the continent of Africa. And this is the flag of Ethiopia. Now, here's a picture of the Ethiopians, the people of Ethiopia, the early tribal people. What do we mean by tribal? Tribal people are the original people who have been there much, much, much earlier than the other people who have migrated, who have gone there to stay, and who have come later. But these are the tribal people who live a different type of life. See how they decorate their faces, they paint their faces. Why do you think they paint their faces? There must be some reason. Mhm. Yes, they paint their faces because it is very hot over there. So this white paint or something like a makeup for them also, as well as it keeps them cool. Here is a picture of the handicraft, the thing that they make of colored thread, beautiful designs. This is their traditional outfit, their traditional clothes that they wear. And this is the lovely spongy bread called injera. Next, we go to another country. Can you guess which country this is? Yes, this is Spain. Spain is in Europe. Can you see over here? It's very close to the Atlantic Ocean. And the small country over here side of Spain is Portugal. This is a costume of Spain. That's the costume they wear. This is a very famous game that they have, the bullfight. Oh my God, it's beautiful. And this is a flamenco dance and the lovely flag and the delicious, lovely food called the paella. Okay, let's go to the people of the world. People everywhere are proud of their own culture, right? You are proud of your culture, I am proud of my culture, and everyone is proud of the culture from where they come from. One way people show their cultural identities is through what they wear. So one of the most important thing, how we know from where a person is identifying the clothes that they wear, the type of clothes that they wear. Like for example, if you see a person wearing a thobe or a abaya, you know that they come from Qatar. If you see a person wearing a sari and a bindi on their head, we say, oh, this person has come from India. So, and like that, there are different types of people in the world who wear different kinds of clothes. But when we look at their clothes, we know from where approximately from which country do they belong, or what from which cultural background do they belong. A cultural identity is a collection of traits that are seen in a group. Collection of traits means a common trait that is seen in a particular group. Like all the Arabic people will behave similar. All the people of India will behave, but there will be certain difference. Yes, bigger the country, more people, more cultures, more tradition, different religion, different thing. So there will be a variation in every place. This map shows children from some of the world's culture. Some are wearing traditional clothing that is worn on special days. Others wear in everyday clothes. Everyday clothes mean the casual clothes that they don't wear. But there are some people over here who are wearing traditional clothes. Traditional clothes mean the clothes that belong on a particular day. Like, for example, when you have Qatar National Day, how will people dress up? Or during the time of Eid, how do people wear the traditional, the clothes of their country? People of the world, human environment interaction. What do we mean by human environment interaction? Is how people mix around with nature. The clothes people wear often depend on their environment. What does these children's clothing tell you about how they adapt to their environment? So if you look at a boy from Russia, you look at a girl from United Kingdom, you look at the boy from a girl from Mali, look at this person from Canada. Okay. Now you look at this girl from Australia, you look at them, each of them are wearing different type of clothes, right? And this girl from Japan, she's wearing a traditional clothes. The girl from Afghanistan is wearing a traditional clothes. But a boy from Russia and the children from Canada, they are wearing something to suit the environment. What are they wearing? They are wearing clothes that will keep them warm. Why? Because the country that they belong to is very, very cold. So they are wearing warm clothes to keep them warm during the very cold winters. Can you see the boy from United States? Is he wearing a traditional cloth? No. He is wearing an everyday clothes that he would wear casual clothes. Expression of culture around the world. How do people around the world express their culture? How do they do it? Express me, how do they show their culture? People around the world express their culture in different ways. Architecture is construction of buildings, music, and dance also help create a group's cultural identity. So, apart from wearing traditional clothes, eating traditional food, people also have the architecture, the way they design their buildings, the music that they play, the music that they sing with, or the dance helps to create a group's identity. So the moment you see the African people and they dance, oh wow, the music is so lovely and so lively. You feel like dancing, okay, you hear the music, you know, okay, this is African culture. Africans are playing the music. So like this, there are so many different ways people express from where they come from. Now let us see this Japanese architecture. Japanese architecture, many historic buildings in Japan share traditional features. If you see in Japan, most of the buildings have got a similar types of designs. Okay, something like this, what you can see in the picture. They were designed to be close to natural environment. The people of Japan like to be close to nature, like to be closer to natural environment. So their architecture or their construction of the building is more which will take them into closer to nature. Most of the older buildings are made of wood. Some buildings have many openings so air can move easily through the rooms. In Japan, living close to nature is an important value. So there in Japan, they have to have the houses which will allow them to be exposed, will allow them to come closer to nature, which is a very important value. Next we goes to Brazilian music and dance. The Brazil. In which part of the world is Brazil? Yes. Brazil is in South America. We will watch a slide. In the next slide, we'll show you some beautiful pictures. Music and dance are important ways to express culture in Brazil. So in Brazil, they express the culture through music and dance. Samba music has a lively rhythm. Lively rhythm means the music is so lively that you, wherever you are, you just feel like dancing. The samba dance comes from Portuguese, African, and native tradition. Dancers and musicians practice all the year for contests held during a festival called Carnival. So in Brazil, they have a festival, a time of festivity, and that is a time called that festivity is called Carnival. And during that time, they have a parade, they have marching, they have music, they have dance, people dressed up in colorful clothes, and it is so much of joy and happiness all around. Let us see the summary of this part. People around the world have similar and different customs and ways of life. They express their cultures in many different ways. So people come around the world have similar and different customs and ways of life. Similar, like I give you an example of the Arabic customs, right? The Arabic culture. Okay, there is something that is common as well as there is something that is different. Different means that even though you may be Arabic, speaking, or you may have a similar food but you come from a different Arabic country, so there will be some difference from whichever country you come from. Okay, let's see the beautiful picture, and I guess you've seen what is it. It is about Japan. Japan is called the land of the rising sun. Can you tell me why it's called the land of the rising sun? Does anyone know? Mm-hmm. Yes, Japan is called it the land of the rising sun because it is the first country in the east. Can you see it over here? And when the sun rises in the morning, the first country to experience daylight is Japan. Wow, look at the Japanese culture food. Yummy, yummy, delicious. That is sushi. And you can see the food that they eat, right? This is it's called tofu. Tofu is something like a milk product. And you know what? One more thing. See the Japanese culture. They don't use spoon and fork. They use chopstick. See their type of architecture, the way their buildings are designed, and this beautiful blossoms, cherry blossoms, which flower during the springtime, and it's so beautiful. Here you see this beautiful building over here, very close to nature. And here are the houses. See the architecture, how the beautiful, these are the bridges made, the old bridges which has got the old traditional way. This is a modern bridge. See their modern houses, how they are built, one better than the other. So beautiful. This is a traditional house or a Japanese house. Next, we go to Brazil. I told you, Brazil is in South America. You can see what a huge country it is, Brazil. This is a flag. Many of you may be familiar with the Brazil flag, right? And these are the traditional people, the native people of Brazil. These are the children who are dressed up for the samba dance, for the cultural, to express their culture through a festivity called the carnival. Here they're doing the samba. See how beautiful they look, all well dressed and happy to express their culture. And with this, we come to the end of our lessons. I hope you enjoyed the lesson. And if you have any doubt, please do message me. I'm ever waiting to hear from you. Bye. Thank you. God bless.